But for the people that haven't seen, basically Blizzard put out a Dragonflight preview for all of the profession stuff. Well, not all of the profession stuff, but they're giving us a little bit more information on how the actual revamped professions are going to work, which is, you know, very exciting. This is something I've definitely been looking forward to, along with a bunch of other people in the community. And I'm going to go over it here, and we're all, like, we can go through it together. We can talk over it. But there's a lot of this we've already seen before. There's a lot of this we already know about. But I mostly want to talk about the things that we don't know about, right? But basically, to put it together, Blizzard has put together here, we're going to be talking about the three main pillars. It's going to be crafting orders, profession specializations, crafting and gathering with quality. This is really interesting that they say that this is one of the three main pillars, and then they decided to not show us at all how these work. They have still not told us how specializations are going to work, which makes all of this like very, very speculative. We really don't know what's going to go on when they don't explain to us how these specializations are going to work, because I've looked through this multiple times already. But one major thing is going to be crafting orders. Now, work orders, recrafting orders, whatever you want to call them, they're going to have a lot of different words, but basically crafting orders. I like this system, you know, but also I'm very scared of this system. I'm very scared. What's up, Ark Raven? Got rid of the specs and professions in Kata because they were too difficult for people to get their heads around. Yeah. I can specialize in one type of tailoring, get extra procs on a daily cooldown. Yes. But the thing about specialization this time around, I think it's going to be way more in-depth. But we still haven't gotten much information on it. But crafting orders, I like it. It's like, you know, my guy, I want this piece of crafted item. Can you make it for me? The only issue that I have with this system is this. That right there. Commission. I don't like this, okay? Because what's going to happen with this is people are going to be crafting a lot of things for no profit. Literally no profit. They see a work order, they're like, oh, I can make that. I click one button, make it, and this guy gets the thing, and I get a little gold, right? Maybe you see like 100 on your server, and then every time somebody takes a very, very cheap thing and they're like, yeah, that seems worth it to me, boom, clap, easy, right? But this isn't necessarily an issue, because if it's very, 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 very hard to get the highest quality of something, then the commission part might not be that much of a problem. I do like that you can change who's getting the order, whether or not it's a public order, it's a friend order, or it's a guild order. I like that. You know, I like that there's some different things that you can do. Think about how many idiots in trade chat lowball you and everything. Yeah. I don't like that they're putting with this system, with the work orders, they're putting a lot of the power into the buyer's hands and not the seller's hands. I don't like that. Don't like that very much. Not as a gold maker. But the RP value of this, how this is going to work for the overall game, I think this is a very good system. And I'm glad they're taking the chance. You know, I'm glad that Blizzard is finally taking some chances with professions. This is a very good start. But other than that, obviously with these work orders, the simple thing is, if you put it in a work order as a buyer, you can say, I'm providing these reagents, as you can see here, some Black Dragon Seared Alloy, some Terravite ore, and Primal Convergence. And you'd be like, well, I only really have 14 out of 20 here. So, and then you as a crafter could be like, okay, well, I'm going to add the rest of these to make this together. And then you could say, well, maybe you could just say, I want some more for it, or whatever. You could send the person a message, or the person that makes the order would be like, I don't have all of the materials, I'm gonna give you a little more gold for doing this, right? But we'll see how this is. And then you can also provide optional reagents. You can amplify the power. I suppose this is probably upgrading the quality of a certain item, but you know, it's I don't know how this is necessarily gonna work. Like, this is something that we're gonna have to wait and see. But overall, I'm glad they're finally doing something like this, you know? And then here, this is it. This is all they have about profession specializations. 2 sections, 5 lines. Profession specializations will allow you to specialize in your primary crafting and gathering professions once you've reached a high enough skill. You will earn specialization points for a variety of activities and get to spend them to permanently improve different areas of your profession. This will be one of the main ways you can differentiate yourself from your peers, as there will be many areas of each profession to specialize in. But the thing is, if you can permanently improve your areas for profession, and down the line you can eventually unlock all of it, then yeah, you can only temporarily differentiate yourself from your peers. And what's also going to happen is people are just going to have 5 blacksmiths and they're going to do everything. So, you know, depending on how this is put together, and obviously they say it's a variety of things, so that could be doing a dungeon, doing a daily activity, world quest, killing a rare, killing a world boss, you know, doing a raid, whatever it is. We don't really know how we earn these specialization points. It could also be daily crafting activities. It could be a lot of different things, but obviously they say just more to come on this feature a bit later. So, yeah, we'll see what comes out with that. Now, the next big thing, which I think we're gonna hear a lot about, is crafting quality. Now, this okay, so I feel a very specific type of way about this, because obviously right here is Blizzard is saying that this isn't to be confused with rarity, because we already have rarity, and there you have common, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. But the thing is, rarity, the higher rarity you have, the higher the quality of the piece of gear is, because it's stronger and stronger and stronger. So they're using a different word, but it's the same thing. And they know that, because otherwise they would not have to do exactly what they did right there, have to explain it. Because people are going to have this, even with them explaining this, people are going to confuse these two things together all the time. All the time. So I you know, this is just, it's 2 systems for the same thing. It's, you know, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. That's all I say. Because what we're going to have now is we're going to have a tier 1, and then you can have a common, uncommon, rare, epic, and a legendary version of a tier 1 thing. That's what the potential is, right? So you can have 5 different versions of 5 different tiers for, I don't know how many different pieces of gear, right? It's a lot. It's a lot. But yeah, this is basically what it is. So this is just a simple system. It's just each tier you get a little better, a little better, a little better, a little better. That's all it is. And but the 5 tiers is going to be for crafted equipment, primarily. And they also say that it'll just modify item levels. And they also are saying here that it also it modifies item levels at a very small rate, which I think this is actually very good. That it does this little. You can see it's only 2 item levels, and it's 3, and then it's 3 item levels. So it's a very, very small difference between these tiers. But we all know that players want the best of the best. You know, people care about that 0.01%. But it is better that, you know, instead of being 15 eye levels or 20 eye levels, it's only 2. I definitely think that this is much better than legendaries that we have currently in Shadowlands. The other part is that consumables and things like that and materials, they're only going to have 3 tiers, which is, you know, it's weird that they use different quality systems, but sure, you know, make it more confusing. It's fine. But that's basically how it's put together. It's for crafted gear, it's going to increase the eye level. And then here they say for crafted items, such as consumables that have quality, the effects of the quality are a bit more varied. For most, a higher quality will result in a more powerful effect, but in some cases, it might come in other forms of variation, such as longer duration, more charges, etc. So what that basically is for consumables, they'll just be more powerful, right? That's as in simply put, it's just gonna be better. So it's very simple, intuitive understanding for how quality works. Now we're also gonna have finishing reagents, and finishing reagents, they're gonna be very, very interesting. I talked this over with a bunch of people, and there's a lot of different ways that they could use these finishing reagents, but what it basically seems to be is, say you're crafting in alchemy and you're like, okay, I want to craft 1500 flasks, right? And instead of it taking an hour to craft, you can add one of these finishing crafting reagents that increases the crafting speed by 25%. So instead of it taking an hour to craft, it's going to take 45 minutes to craft, right? Which is very good, but it also depends on how easy these things are to get. Like how crazy are they? Are they expensive? Do they take a long time to craft? How many do you need? Like if you're crafting, let's say 1,000 flasks, do you need 1,000 of these finishing reagents? Or is it just going to be every time you click create all? Or are they going to have charges? Or like what's going to happen? Like that's basically where it's put together for me. I have more questions for this. But also something that's very important is this right here. All gathered reagents are going to have not going to have quality. So the core reagents gathered by the primary gathering professions, which are ores, skins, scales, hides, and herbs. So, you know, mining, herbalism, and skinning, those are going to have the quality levels. But reagents such as meat, cloth, fish, and elements that can be gathered by anyone will not have that. But crafted materials are going to have quality. So even though these things that can be gathered by anyone don't have any, obviously any quality levels, what they can be made into will have quality levels. So not only are you going to have some materials that don't have quality levels, you will have some materials that do have quality levels, and then what you can craft it into, to crafted materials, they will also have quality levels. And then based on that quality level, you can make another piece of gear or an item or consumable that will also have a quality level. So yeah, different stack on auction now depend on quality. Yeah, it seems like what it will be. It obviously depends on how they do it, because they could do it in one way. Say that there's a quality level. There's 3 different tiers. Kind of like, let's say we had Sinver ore right now. And then you could say, well, this Sinver ore has a tier 1, it has a tier 2, and it has a tier 3. Now, that might, it's on the, this time, it's not a rank in your profession, it's on the material. So let's say you have a tier 3 Sinver ore, that might be better in terms of what you can craft with it, or how much it can make, or whatever it is, right? It could, you know, maybe you need less material because it's stronger, or something like that. But it could also be that it's not, you know, different tiers of the same material, but it could also mean that the different tiers are going to be different materials. That's what I'm hoping it is. So like what I'm hoping is that, oh, tier 1 lacerite ore, tier 2 Sinver ore, tier 3 Elefium ore. That's what I'm hoping it is. So like the different tiers are different materials, because if every single material that we can gather all have 3 different quality levels, it's going to get so confusing, man. It's really going to get really confusing. Have fun to TSM for posting. I'm telling you right now, Shidoni, there is absolutely no way that TSM is going to be ready for a Dragonflight release. There's no shot. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Craft is going to be like this. Customers casual is going to hate it. Damn it! I bought the wrong one. Yeah, a lot of people are gonna make mistakes for sure with this. And also considering the fact that there's so many different quality levels and so many different things that can impact how great whatever it is that you're crafting is, that also puts it into a point where we're gonna have to do so much math and figure out, okay, where is the path of least resistance? where is the easiest way or the cheapest way or the fastest way to make this with what materials. There's always going to be a way that is going to be the best. Like, we're never gonna have a world where, oh my god, all of these materials are gonna get used. No. People are gonna do the math. It's not gonna work. You can't stop me. I have spreadsheets. So yeah, spreadsheets are gonna be king, obviously, without a doubt. So this will be very interesting. But this is one of those reasons why I think gathering is not going to be as dead as people think. I think that having this amount of depth into gathering professions is going to keep them alive. I think so. But we'll see. We'll see. We will see. And then obviously now there's the crafting process. And now this is... Okay, this is a whole nother can of worms. Okay? Because not only for the recipe difficulty... the recipe difficulty determines how hard it is to craft something at a higher quality. So it says this is very difficult to craft, so the chances of you making this at a high level are super small. But you can add optional reagents to increase the chances of you making it, right, at a higher quality. But you can also add optional reagents like these that will increase the difficulty but make the item better, right? So here you see a missive, which we've had for legendaries as well, and you see it guarantees critical strike and haste. So no matter what, this piece of armor that you put this missive on will have critical strike and haste, but it also increases the difficulty, right? So here you can see that it makes it 10 plus points of recipe difficulty harder to do because you want critical strike and haste on it. So that's going to be very interesting to see whether or not those are going to be worth it, because who knows how expensive this missive is to craft, right? Because let's say that I can craft 5 pieces of gear and just roll the dice and try to get the right stats on it. Is that going to be more worth it than using a missive to get the specific stats that I want, but the difficulty is higher? We don't know, right? And I feel like not obviously there's people are going to craft how it intuitively seems the best way to craft. So whatever way seems best, right? I can guarantee you right now, if somebody doesn't look through a spreadsheet, doesn't watch a video, and they just want to craft something, they look at it, they're like, this has the chance to get two different what do you call it, stats on it, right? They're just gonna click craft. They're not gonna care about a missive, man. They're not. Your average player is not gonna care. What's up, Ruda? So many will be making junk in order to proc the good stuff to sell. Well, the thing is, further down, Shadow, Blizzard are actually talking about how they're going to combat specifically that. And that is, drum roll please, Soulbound reagents. Yay! Woohoo! Yay! Everyone loves Soulbound reagents. Yeah! But no, in all seriousness, that's exactly what it is. But I don't really like, and Manfius was talking about that earlier as well. They're calling it Soulbound reagents, but because of the work order system, people can say, I have this Soulbound reagent, make me this item, right? And then they give you their Soulbound reagent to make the item in a work order. So they're not really soulbound. You can still trade them, but it has to be through a work order. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's go further in here. Let's go further in here. If you guys have any questions or anything that you might want to add, let's talk about it. Anything that you see, anything that seems weird, we'll talk about it. But it's a lot. There's a lot to unpack here. But let's go on to the next thing. Your crafting skill is determined by your base skill in your profession. For example, Dragon Isle's tailoring. But it can be modified by a variety of factors, including the quality of the reagents you use, finishing reagents, profession gear with skill bonuses, various bonuses provided by consumables, and most significantly, your profession specialization. So look at how many things that impact how good your thingy that you're crafting is. Are you ready? The quality of reagents, 1. Finishing reagents, 2. Profession gear with skill bonuses, 3. Various bonuses provided by consumables, 4. And your profession specialization, 5. These are 5 different things that you have to take care of to min-max the amount of stuff that you're going to get out of your professions. 5 different systems that you have to mishmash together to make a cake. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy. This is so much, man. Like, okay, I'm telling you right now, Blizzard needs to increase my fucking bag space. I need more bag space. If I need 3 different tiers of quality crafting materials, I need finishing reagents, I need profession gear, I need consumables, and I also need my profession specialization to be correct. And then I need multiple different characters with multiple different focuses based on my profession specialization. My God! It's a lot. Where's the emo with the guy with hands on the sides of his head? Oh, are you talking about not like this? Extra backspace, you say? $25 per slot? I'm telling you right now, Raven, if Blizzard is going to charge real money for more backspace, I am rioting at their offices. For legal reasons, that is a joke. Blizzard, please give me alpha. As you can see in the below image, your crafting UI will make it clear, based on all of these factors, what quality you're expected to craft your item at. So what we're going to see here is, you can see right here. So we're looking at a pair of boots in blacksmithing here, and it says you have these different reagents, and you also, there's a little button that says use best quality reagents. So I suppose it's just the highest quality reagents that you have, right? And then it says your crafting skill is going to be able to make something right there, which is somewhere in between a tier 4 and a tier 5, right? And I suppose if you were to add some finishing reagents and some optional reagents, you can increase the chances of you making a tier 5 thing, right? That's like what I'm wondering. I wonder how quality would apply to crafted bags. That is exactly my point as well. I saw that they had not talked about tailoring. They had not mentioned bags. I hope that there's going to be different quality levels to bags, and I hope it has some interesting things on there. I hope we can also get a reagent pack increase. Makes sense with profession changes. Yeah. And now, oh my God, this is the best part of this entire post. This is so funny. Additional crafting stats. Are you guys ready for Blizzard dancing along the lines of RNG without saying RNG? What's up, babe? Inspiration, aka RNG, luck. You have an X% chance to be inspired crafting this recipe with extra skill. So basically what this is if you have this stat, if you have a lot of this stat, your chances of making something at a higher tier is going to be increased. So basically, you take a bunch of dice, as they say here. Inspiration is for those of you who love rolling the dice and getting lucky on some bonus quality. It's also a way to craft items at a higher quality than your natural skill and a specialization would allow when you get lucky. Now, this right here, I'm telling you right now, everyone is going to do this if this is crazy. Like, if this actually matters, everyone will be doing this because everyone loves gambling. That's just how it is. You're just going to figure out, okay, what are the percentage chances for me getting this thing? Okay, how much profit is there? Okay, let me craft. That's it. What if they make bags cooler than we ever imagined? Instead of making them bigger, they do other stuff. But that's what I'm saying, Shadow. I really hope that, man. You know? Welcome in, Thunder, as well. I hope higher quality bags to sparkle in the UI instead of adding new slots. I hope it's going to be something like you have an on-use effect and you can increase your bag size by 200 for like 2 hours or like 24 hours. Like, can you imagine that? It has like a week cooldown, but you can increase your bag space by 200 for like a day. That could be cool. I feel like the inspiration mechanic will drive down the price of the highest stuff because there will be people who get it from inspiration and sell it for barely any profit. That's the thing, Scrim. That is definitely something that happens if they don't implement the system correctly. Especially early on. Like, everyone is going to go for this. Like, everyone is going to get as much inspiration as they can, and then they're going to try to craft the highest stuff early. That's what they're going to do. That's what's going to happen. Herbalism bag, where if you have it equipped, you get 10% more herbs when you herb, but you can put more than just herbs in there. Yeah, I mean, I'd love for there to be something like that. Pet donkeys to carry stuff for you. Yeah, imagine a bag that's 10 slot, but increases your haste to crit like a piece of gear. But yeah, I don't know if they're ever gonna do that though. If that happens, then it could possibly not be even worth it to go after the higher stuff. No, that's probably not going to be the case. It depends on how this is implemented. But besides that, we also have resourcefulness and multicraft. Resourcefulness is you have an X% chance to use fewer tradable reagents such as ore. So this is basically, you know, a 10% chance to use 2 or less on a craft. That's what it is, right? That's all it is. But then you have multicraft, which is you have an X% chance to craft additional items, and it only works in recipes for stackable items. Now, what I'm wondering is, can you use multicraft and resourcefulness at the same time? And whether or not you can do that, people are just going to do the math and compare these two, right? Because like, okay, well, if I use resourcefulness, am I going to save more materials by using this? Or is it more worth it to have a chance for crafting multiple items where I then in turn also save materials because they're crafted, quote unquote, for free because they proc, right? Do I save more materials by multi-crafting or saving materials? I don't know how they're going to balance this. I feel like this is going to be fine if you can use them together. If you can use these two together and they stack together. And they also do say that multicraft, it only works for stackable items. So obviously resourcefulness, that's something that you could use on crafted gear, right? But you could also use this on consumables. But multicraft cannot be used on gear. So it's going to be interesting. And then there's crafting speed, which we already were introduced to earlier, which is just crafting is X% faster. So that's what it is. But it doesn't seem like you can get... Well, obviously, we haven't really seen much of the profession gear yet. So we haven't really seen if we can get, like, permanent crafting speed. But, dude, can you imagine if, like, without crafting speed, if you're trying to craft, like, 2,000 flasks or whatever, and you're like, this is going to take an hour. But then you have a crafting speed set. Like, you have the maxed out crafting speed set. And then you can, instead of using an hour on crafting those flasks, you can craft it in like 10 minutes. You know how crazy that could be? Like, that could be very valuable on reset days, right? Where you keep running out of stuff. You can craft it a lot faster than everyone else. But I wonder how these are going to work together. Like, how many of these stats that you can do, whether or not they're going to stack together. Like, I have so many questions, man. But I'm very excited. I'm glad that Blizzard is finally doing something for this. Now, we are now getting to the most delusional part, naive part of this entire thing, which is their quality philosophy. And further down, they also have profession skilling philosophy, and then they also have some more information further down. But let's go over this together. I'm sure a lot of you, if you haven't read this, you'll be well, we'll see. I'll be stacking crafting speed for tunes. I'll make bars and stuff. During Shadowlands, I'll spend hours prospecting, milling smelting, enchanting it was absolutely insane. Yeah, but that's exactly my point. Let's get into that character again. So, let's hear it. Many players will want to craft the best of the best and will settle for nothing less. So obviously they're aware of that fact. With that in mind, let's get this together here. We want to share a bit about our philosophy for quality and difficulty tuning for recipes. For many early and lower tier recipes, such as for leveling gear, starter potions, and more, right as you learn them, your general crafting skill may be low enough that you will tend to craft them at the lowest quality. These recipes aren't meant to be difficult though, and for gaining a higher skill in your profession or specializing in paths that make you generally better, these recipes will tend to become easy to make at max quality, even with low quality reagents. So what this means is that early on, they're going to be pretty hard to make, but down the line, they're going to be cheaper to make. Right? So you can make them early on, you might not be able to make them super good cheaply, but down the line, you can make them super good cheaply. So, you know, down the line, you just get better at making it, which is fine. I don't have an issue with this. I don't. I don't mind this. I think this is good. Natural progression. But it's basically going to go from making a ton of gold to making no gold. But that also depends on how they introduce new patches and like how they're going to do this entire system. Because what they're going to have to do is think of all these materials. Let's say we have 4 different materials and they all have different tiers. And then for whenever there's a new patch, they have to do that one more time. Right? A whole new slate of crafted gear, a whole new slate of materials, a whole new slate of consumables, and then they're going to have to do this entire system one more time. Like every patch, every major patch. It's going to be crazy, man. But anyway, on the other hand, many of the recipes for the high-end items, particularly gear with powerful optional reagents and top-tier consumables, will be extremely difficult to craft at the highest quality. Now, Blizzard says here, it will be extremely difficult to craft at the highest level. This right here means absolutely nothing, because it's not going to be extremely difficult as it's hard to complete like a puzzle. It's going to be extremely difficult as it's going to take a long time to get to the point of being able to craft it at the highest quality. So it's not a difficulty in terms of hard to figure out. It's a difficulty in terms of it's going to take a long time. That's where it is. So it's easy, but it takes a lot of time. Just add a level to everything like they do for our characters leveling up. So you think they're just going to do like a tier 6, tier 7, tier 8, tier 9? Like things like that? Add more levels? Maybe. It all depends. It all depends, I suppose. But, in fact, the goal is, in these situations, is that only the best of the best can make them at the highest quality, and only by using every tool at your disposal. So this is what we were talking about before. You have to use 5 different systems perfectly, at least early on, to be able to craft the highest piece of gear, consumables, or whatever it is. So like you really, really, really have to be good, have to done a lot of content, play a lot to be able to make things at the highest possible quality. But we don't know how hard it is yet, because we don't know anything about the profession specializations, and we don't know anything about the content that we're going to have to do. So we still don't really know how tough this is going to be, but they're making it sound like it's going to be very hard. Yeah. Imagine making it like the puzzle quest in Seraph Mortis or Nashatar. Every time you craft the highest thing, so people can't just make 100. Yeah. Good lord. What this means in practice is that if you wanted to craft the most difficult recipe at the max quality, for example, a chest with an item level equivalent to that of mythic raids, yes, this will be possible. You would likely need to fully specialize in crafting that type of gear, use all the top quality reagents, both required and optional, all of which would be require extremely skilled gatherers and crafters as well. Use the best profession gear you can find, which will also likely require specialized crafters to make. So basically what they're saying here is you need a guy that's fully specialized in crafting a specific type of gear. Then you need gatherers that are fully specialized in collecting the top quality reagents. Then you need a person that's fully specialized in making the optional reagents. Then you need also a crafter that's fully specialized in making the best profession gear as well. So, like, the amount of alts that we're gonna need, guys, is crazy. It's absolutely insane. Like, right here, this is basically already, it's like at least 10 alts. You know, if you want to do everything yourself. Yeah. Good, you got so many alts you can spec in all things. Yep. But I don't know whether or not this is going to be fun yet. It sounds very fun on paper, but we'll see. They're basically like, hey, now that we made the optionals faster with changes, let's slow it down by adding a huge amount of items, different levels and qualities. Yeah. Looks like more annoying than everything. It could be very annoying. I agree. But we'll see. What's up, Mick? Welcome in. Also, welcome in to everybody, everyone else trickling in. 14 on one server is not enough, you think? If you want to do every single profession at the highest possible level early on, no. They're making it sound like you can go in and specialize in making one thing in your profession early on. And then after a little bit, maybe after a reset or two, you can do one more thing. Like, they're making it sound like you're specialized in making a blacksmithing helmet on this character, and you could do that very well. And it's going to be a while before you can do that for another piece of item, a piece of gear, or a piece of, you know, consumable or whatever it is. You're going to need rep also, because if you need rep, we're screwed. We don't know yet, because we don't know what type of content it is. They're just saying that we have to do various different types of content to be able to do it. The min-maxers will figure out how to make it unfun. Oh yeah, for sure. What's up, Tankard? I quit the game completely, not coming back. Better stay away for good now. I mean, hey, you know, you can stick to your opinion as much as you want. To me, I am very excited about everything that this profession system has to offer. There are a lot of downsides, but there's also a lot of upsides. Like, I am very, very excited to see Blizzard finally taking some chances and giving us some well thought out, in-depth professions, but I am also very scared because it brings out a lot of balancing issues and other issues that it, you know, comes along with making a system like this. Make one of every possible thing and post it all, whatever sells, recraft, whatever sells, often start crafting more than one until I never run out on the optionals. Yeah. Rather have a hard path than an easy way of life. Yeah. But we'll see. On top of that, you would either need to get lucky with inspiration or use a valuable finishing reagent that boosts skill to guarantee the item is crafted at the top quality. In other words, it will take the contribution of many skilled crafters and gatherers as well as some extra luck or extra resources to make those best items at the highest quality. The goal here is to make sure that crafting the best of the best or having it crafted for you will be no small feat, and one to be proud of. We also want to emphasize that you will never need to rely on luck. So this right here, this sentence right here, and along with this, luck can be of much help to you if you want to focus on inspiration, but it's never necessary. This right here is naive, because if I have a 14% chance to make the best thing instead of 0% chance to make the best thing, we all know that everyone is going to be going for the 14% chance to get the best thing. Like, this is like Blizzard saying, oh, we're introducing gambling into our game, but you don't want to do it. Like, you don't need to do it, but you could, but you don't need to do it. They're basically saying here, you don't need to rely on luck, but it's good. So they're contradicting themselves. Like, they're saying, you don't need to focus on it, but you can. But, like, if it's not important, why would I? Like, if it's not good enough, if it's not necessary, why would I ever focus on it? But if it's not necessary, why is this in the game if it's not necessary? That's what I like. This is why I don't like this. That's an oversight. That's an oversight. But anyway, let's go on here. We also hope this means that crafting the very highest quality items turns out to be very lucrative, while also being something that a large guild could coordinate to do on their own. Please note, though, that the goal is not to have high-end gear cost anything remotely approaching the cost of top legendaries in Shadowlands. The funny thing is, the only reason that they write this is so that everyone that will ask are these going to cost as much as legendaries in Shadowlands? This is just Blizzard telling you, no, they're not. We don't think. They don't know. If it's very lucrative and very, very hard to get the top of the line stuff, it's going to be expensive, man. It's going to be expensive. I think inspiration may matter for the lesser crafts that don't use a finishing item. Yeah, I mean, obviously, but we don't really know how it's put together yet. I just don't like them saying that inspiration can be very good based on the fact that you can make a higher quality thing, but it's not necessary. But if it's not necessary, why would I ever use it instead of something else? They're basically saying that the stat is not good enough to consider. But then why would I ever had it? Why would I ever think about it then? You know? So, it all depends on how good it is. If it's not good enough, then yeah, it's not necessary. If it's not good enough, then yeah, no one's gonna care. Maybe they do think about economics in their game. Yeah, we'll see. In general, we don't expect the base reagents to be nearly as expensive, and most of the effort to become highly specialized will be through play, not spending gold. Even if for a time only a few players can make the best items at the highest quality, getting an item crafted at a lower quality, which will be much more achievable. So this is what they're saying right here. Even if it's only possible for a few players to make the best stuff, you can very easily, from a bunch of people, get the lower tier things. But we all know that people care about the 0.01%. Everyone cares about it. Like, obviously, if the difference is not very big, then sure, less people will care about it. But there will still be people that care about it. People that are doing high mythic rating or high mythic plus or rated PvP at the top, tippity top, and the people that are right under there, they're still gonna want the best, man. With a system this complicated, I bet there'll be plenty of gold to be made on milling, prospecting, disenchanting, and other shuffles. Oh yeah, I am very, very excited to see what kind of vendor shuffles we're gonna have. I think there's gonna be lots and lots and lots of potentials for shuffles here. I think it's not necessary if you only craft stuff that takes a special reagent to guarantee the higher level. Yeah, but if that's the case, if it's not necessary, if it takes a special, like if you craft it and you're like, okay, I'm sure to craft it at this higher level, then why even have inspiration in the first place? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can always craft it at a high level, then why even introduce inspiration into the game? We all know that inspiration is going to be crazy early on, because inspiration is going to, if you're really lucky, you can make the best quality item earlier than everyone else. Right? And then slowly but surely, as we all get better and better in our professions, inspiration is probably going to die. Right? It's probably going to die out. This sounds so good. Barrett's entry through play. I was worried that you couldn't make a lot of gold in Dragonflight. It sounds like gold raining. Yes. But on the flip side, I'm very scared about work orders, Mick. But you are right. If work orders wasn't put into this as a whole, this would be insane. Yo, what's up? What's up, Ben? Welcome in again. I think not all items can use the extra reagent. No, they can. They have made it seem like consumables and crafted gear, all of it can use optional reagents and finishing reagents. All of it. We saw that up here. You can see here a pair of boots, finishing reagents right there, and optional reagents. And we also saw right here, which is this is an alchemy for a potion, finishing reagents right here. There's no optional reagents, but there's still finishing reagents. So that's going to be very interesting to see how that's going to be fully put together. But yeah. Yo, what's up, Soy? Recrafting to upgrade is what makes this work. People will be settling for the cheaper thing now if they can upgrade it later as costs go down. Yes. Recrafting is a very, very good system introduced into it. I agree. But anyway, let's continue. Lower quality items will also only be slightly less powerful in contrast to the tiers of legendaries and Shadowlands. So I like this. This is what they were talking about the fact that, you know, every tier is only going to be a couple item levels instead of like 15, 20, or 25 item levels, which I think is definitely good. And then they also say that you have the option of recrafting for less reagents. So that's good. Maybe the reagents is based on old school materials? No. Nope. This is strictly Dragonflight. None of this is going to be old world professions. Absolutely none of it. They've mentioned all over the place that all of this is just Dragonflight. Yeah. They're not doing this for old expansions. Not yet, at least. But then we have profession skilling philosophy here. In Dragonflight, you will gain skill in your profession similar to the way you have in the past. There will be one main difference, though, for primary crafting professions. Instead of needing to max your skill to learn all recipes, you will only need to skill it up about halfway. The intent is that you won't feel the need to rush out to max your to max out your profession skill. You can instead slow down halfway, content in knowing you can learn any recipe you get your hands on. Now, this right here is basically just a different way of maxing out your profession, because what they're saying is you don't need to max out your profession because you can get everything halfway. You know what I'm saying? So like it's I don't really see the point of this. And also, if people see a number, they're like 75, but on 150 is maxed out, I want to max out my profession just in case. I don't like this. Because even though Blizzard might say that there's no real reason to max out your profession, people are going to do it, man. People are going to want to max out their profession. It should also mean that while you're filling crafting orders for others or making useful items for yourself, your guild, or to sell, that you will continue to gain skill. Finally, it should mean many fewer items will be made just to skill up, thus flooding the market and diminishing their value. So right here, they're saying that because they're not they're not telling you max out your profession to get all these recipes, they don't think that people will be making a bunch of stuff just to max out their professions. The thing is, if you don't want people to flood the market, don't make me flood the market. Like, this is still gonna make people flood the market. If you can rush up in your crafting skill, people are gonna do it, man. People will rush to whatever point they can learn all recipes. That's the point of maxing now. Yeah. I think the better take is that you can make whatever to max out, not just like 20 of a specific item just to skill up. You can make items that people actually want and will buy. I suppose what they're doing is definitely better than the ranks with legendaries. It's definitely better than that, right? Because, I mean, at least early on, obviously rank 1, rank 2, rank 3, rank 4, that all mattered, right? But eventually, it's going to turn into what it was. Only rank 4 mattered, and then nothing else mattered until you got rank 5 and 6, and then only really rank 6 mattered, but rank 5 mattered for a short while. Same thing's going to happen to this thing. Like, early on, yeah, sure, all the tiers are probably going to matter, but down the line, everyone's going to want the top of the line stuff. You know? You don't think that's what people are going to do? Because you can make things that people are actually going to buy? Well, the way that I see it, right? If you know for a fact that all the things that you're going to craft are going to sell because they're something that people are going to want, why wouldn't you just craft all the way up to max out your profession immediately then? Then you know, oh, let me just rush all the way up here because I can sell all these still for a profit. Now, obviously, that all depends on how the work order system is as well, because if a majority of where your skill for crafting professions, for gear crafting professions are. If majority of where your skill comes from is from work orders, well, then you're limited by that, obviously. And also how fast people get their soulbound reagents to be able to craft whatever it is. So it all depends on how Blizzard puts it together. But yeah, I mean, if what they want to do is remove the incentive for people maxing out their professions, then they need to do that, right? Completely. They need to remove all reasons to max it out. Then it's fine. Mentally already flooding the market with Dark Moon cards. We don't even know if we're getting Dark Moon cards, honestly. Did we see that? Under that alchemy? Combat potions, utility potions, trinkets. We have alchemist stones. Then we have transmutation. That's fun. Finishing reagents. Incense. We're gonna have incense. We can get holistic on them. No. It'll be interesting, man. If the max is 100 and then at 50 I can learn everything, why would I rush to 100 instead of rushing to 50, San? Or is that what you're saying? No, but that's what I'm saying. If we can get everything at 50, people are just going to rush to 50. Right? Making a new, like... what I'm trying to say is that them saying that there's no reason to max out your profession if you can get everything at halfway there, then sure, there's less reason to max it out. Because why would you? Right? But people are still going to rush to that point. Like 50 is just a new 100, making the rest of it useless. But even if it is useless, people are still going to want to max things out. I mean, that's fucking... that's how achievements work in the game. Unless they remove it completely, people are still going to rush to max it out. But the way that I see it, I think it would be better. And they're definitely getting there. I think it's just better to, like, when people craft things, the people, like, the things that you craft, just make them good. Right? If they're good, people are going to buy them, and you're not going to be flooding the market because you're crafting good things that people are actually going to want to buy. Just don't make it useless, and then you have no issues. You know? I thought maxing it out gave you a better chances of making a better item. See, that's the thing, Mackenzie. That's exactly my point, right? And probably also, the higher skill you get, you probably also get more specialization points or whatever it is. So, it's not going to be 100% useless. But that's my point. Unless they make it 100% useless to level the rest of the levels, then people are still going to be rushing. Right? They're still going to be rushing to get the highest of the highest. Even if we're not going to be able to use the rest of the points all the way up there for like weeks and weeks or months maybe, people are still going to want to do it immediately. You know? That's the same way that legendaries worked. We in Shadowlands, when legendaries came out, all the crafters, we were ready to sell legendaries when people could craft them with the things that they gathered from Torghast. We sat there and we waited until people started buying those things. I think this is going to be the same thing. I think crafters are going to get way ahead of the buyers, and then eventually when the buyers catch up to whatever the crafters are doing, and you know, it's going to be the same thing. The work order is going to start flooding in, right? The work orders are going to start flooding in, and then you're sitting there ready to make them all. The rest isn't useless. Your max skill will give you a benefit for the top-end recipes, which likely will require stuff you can't get it right away. Yeah, but that's my point, you know? That's what I'm saying. So it's kind of going against itself again. That breaks the fantasy. Some stuff needs to be better than the other stuff for the fantasy of crafting. Thus making the lower things crap. I mean, I agree. Doesn't use skill add the ability to craft a better item? Yeah, but that's the thing. The higher skill you are, the better you get at certain things, so... Just, I don't know, sounds shit. Their philosophy is a little all over the place. Like, they're very hopeful, and, but this is also obviously goals. Like, this is where they want to get. And I think it's good that they're, telling us that these are the reasons that they make certain things in the game. Like, I'm excited that they're finally telling us this is why we're making this in professions. You know what I'm saying? So we don't just have a random ass system that just works the way that it does, and we have no idea why. I'm glad that they're telling us thoughts behind what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Because this starts actual conversations. But anyway, this is also true because much of the latter half of your profession skill will be earned through crafting high-end items that require specially earned soulbound reagents. So this is some time-gating stuff, right? Definitely. It's going to be some time-gating stuff. Since as an individual crafter, you cannot earn enough of these on your own to max your profession, you will need often to fill orders from others to maximize your profession skill. Well, this is exactly what I said. So they are going to limit us. They're making it sound like you cannot. You will have no way of maxing your skill on your own. Please no dungeons. Don't make me run dungeons on my crafters. No, but that's the whole point. That's why they're saying you will often need to fill orders from other people to maximize your professions. So you want to make your profession better? You got to craft some stuff for other people. A lot like the Final Fantasy crafting system. I'm so pumped for it. I have no idea about how any of that works in Final Fantasy, so I don't know about that. But sure. Oh yeah, this is in Dragonflight you will find many recipes for extremely powerful craftable equipment. In fact, every primary crafting profession can craft one or more pieces, all of which will work under a shared system with the following attributes. Up to 5 of these crafted pieces can be equipped at once, with two-handed weapons counting as 2. Well, rip Fury Warriors. All of them start in the item level range near to normal raids, increasing with quality. Through earned optional reagents, they can be brought up to heroic and even mythic raid item levels, making them competitive with some of the best gear you can find. I don't really like this right here, making them competitive. That's not really how it's put together. It's either better or worse. You know what I'm saying? Unless they're actively balancing these things, it's not going to be a competitive thing. It's going to be better or worse. Best in slot or not. That's stupid. It's one weapon. Well, I think the reason that they're doing it with two-handed weapons is because two-handed weapons have a lot of stats on them. I think that's why. I think that's the main reason that they're saying that two-handed weapons are like that. But it's pretty unfortunate. It's pretty unfortunate for Fury Warriors compared to everyone else. I wonder if they'll let you craft work orders for alts. No, not on the same account. You can't buy your own auctions on the same account. But if you were to have a second account on the same Battle.net, I mean, sure, probably. Shydra, appreciate that. Appreciate the follow. Bis pre-raid? No, but that's what they're saying here. An item level range near the normal raids, and then it can be brought up to heroic and even mythic raid item levels, so they're gonna be there. But the thing is, it's a question of whether or not they're better or worse. And how they time it, right? Right next to you, and you reach over to the desk and buy your stuff. That's an option too, Mackenzie, yeah. I think it'll be a good system, especially how weights change. Yeah, I think so too. I'm very excited that Blizzard are, you know, finally taking some... Overall, guys, I am very, very excited for this system. I'm also very scared, but I'm very excited that Blizzard are finally taking some chances and finally giving us a huge profession system. Like, we're talking... If you want to do every profession, I think this is going to be hundreds of hours. I'm not kidding. It is this... To me, reading through all the things, and we don't even have specializations yet. We don't know how they're going to be put together. This sounds like hundreds of hours if you want to do all professions. For me, there's 2 options. You can craft really high-end items, but should be like Thunder Fury or huge. Yeah, still pre-raid item. Yeah, my body and alt army is ready. Yeah, but here. All of them starting, yeah, we read that. All are soulbound, so you'll either need to craft them yourself or have someone craft them for you for a crafting order. So I like this, honestly. Work orders are obviously good. We're going to be forced to do work orders. If you want to do crafting professions, you better be ready to do work orders. That's all I'm saying. Oh, yeah. Each piece of crafted equipment will require several types of soulbound reagents that you will need to earn to craft it and improve it further with optional reagents. One type of reagent will come from various challenging activities, including dungeons, raids, PvP, and venturing in some dangerous outdoor areas, and you will also need to earn a fair amount of this reagent to craft a piece of equipment, or for significant pieces. You can also use this reagent to construct an optional reagent to bring this equipment up to around heroic raid item level. Second type of reagent will come from a series of quests that award you enough to craft one piece of equipment. Additional stages of these quests will become available to everyone every few weeks. So, as you guys can tell, this is going to be time gated. Additional stages of these quests will become available to everyone every few weeks. So, this sounds like every tier has 2 weeks in between them. That's what they're making it sound like to me. You know? You want to go one tier up? Well, see you in 2 weeks. Or you want to craft another piece of gear? See you in 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do work orders to get stuff. Yeah, but it definitely sounds like that's going to be the case. But also, it might not, right, Shadow? Because you can use trade chat and you can tell people, I can craft this, make a work order for me, right? You can have your guild and you can be like, I can make all this stuff, guys. Send me work orders. Oh, you know what? Maybe there's going to be like crafting guilds. Maybe actually, I think something that could be very interesting is reaching out to like big guilds and saying, I want to be the crafter for you guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, that'll probably be more important than ever before. I wonder if all the World First guilds are already asking for that. Like, already asking people to be crafters. Like, on this level. I mean, they probably already have people doing that, you know? I know they do, but this is going to be much different. I farted and it stinks. That's usually what farts do. Limit Max has? Oh, really? That's interesting. My mindset is basically it can't get worse, right? I mean, missed bonus stats like in Kata. Like, I'll tell you guys right now, nothing can be worse than the shit stain we currently have in Shadowlands. I'll be dead ass. Nothing can be worse. And if something is worse than what we have in Shadowlands right now, good Lord. Anyway, philosophically, the goal of this system is to have professions to be a meaningful source of high-end gear, elevating the importance and value of professions. As a crafter, you'll need to go to significant effort to gain the skills, specializations, and recipes necessary to craft this gear, but it should be well worth it. What do you mean Shadowlands is cool? In terms of overall enjoyment for professions in Shadowlands, this has been my least favorite gold-making expansion. My least favorite. Do you give feedback to Blizzard or just say stuff on stream? I can't give feedback directly to Blizzard, but I can hope somebody sees it. I think, you know, the only reason that Blizzard isn't making a mission table in Dragonflight, it has to be because I made so many videos on it. You know? That's the only reason. That's the only reason that they're not making it in Dragonflight, right, guys? Right? Right? Blizzard has their own forums? Yeah, I know. I know. And they have a community council, too. I feel it'll make professions a huge boost to in-game economy. Yeah, I think this is for the overall player base. I think this is going to be very good. And I, as a player myself, for me, I care more about having fun than making gold. And I know a lot of you guys might be like, San, but what's the fun in making no gold? Like, why would I do this if I don't make gold? And I understand that too. But for me, it's more important to do something that I'm having fun with, right? There's a reason that I ran through Mana Tombs 4,873 times to get a recipe that I could have gotten in 2 weeks. So we can blame you for it? Yeah. Says the guy with 1 billion gold. Well, the way that you have to put this together, Scrim, the only reason that I have that much gold is because I have fun with what I'm doing, right? Because if I didn't have fun with what I'm doing, I would have quit the game and not made any gold, right? I would have not made any gold. I don't have 1 billion gold either, but, you know. What else we got here? As a user of this gear, you will also need to go out and acquire many of the reagents yourself. The soulbound reagents are designed to provide a means of deterministic, incremental progress towards gear of your choice while doing the activities of your... Too many fucking words, man! The soulbound reagents are designed to provide a means of deterministic, incremental progress towards gear of your choice while doing the activities of your choice. That's a shit sentence. Anyway. What's up, you? What's the max out of gear and time walking dropping? I think it's 210? 210? I don't remember. I don't remember, actually. Anyway. We can check it, actually. We can check it. Not right now, because I haven't done it on a max level character. I think it's 210. In other words, do fun stuff to get cool stuff eventually? Yes. Yes. I'm fine with having to go to dungeons or long quest chains to get recipes. I just hope I don't have to go... I don't have to do it to get reagents that are soulbound, because scaling up your operation is impossible when you need dungeons to get soulbound reagents. Yes. I agree. And I also don't like the fact that they're using soulbound reagents, because the thing is, because of the work order system, they're not soulbound. Because as a player, you can say, hey, crafter, make this for me. And you can give them, for a work order, you can send in your soulbound reagents, so they're not really soulbound. But having them be soulbound limits it, and it time gates it, and it slows it down, which I think is good. Sam has 5 accounts, so he has 5 billion gold. Yeah, that's the math seems correct on that one. Anyway, in addition to quest acquired, reagent mentioned above will limit how quickly you can acquire high-end crafted gear. This will prevent it from overwhelming other sources of gear, while giving you the freedom to choose from where and how quickly you want to acquire the other reagents, which I think that's all right. And then here, they're actually giving a little bit of a hint into how alchemy and files, which is going to be a new one, in Dragon, it's just how alchemy is going to work. So basically, these are new flasks, and what they're going to be is that instead of having 1 hour of having, a boost to your stats, these are going to be 30-minute things, and you can apparently stack them, right? So you have a situation right here where you're looking at this, and you're like, file of static empowerment. You're like, okay, remaining stationary will increase your intellect up to 240 over 5 seconds. Movement will consume the effect, granting up to 500 speed. But you can also put on charge isolation, which is your intellect is increased by 225 while at least 10 yards away from your allies, right? So I don't know. I think this is just kind of useless. I don't really see the point of doing this, but it's fine. It's fine. Getting some new stuff, some different things. I think 30 minutes is also better than 1 hour, and having, being able to stack different things and not wasting 1 hour if it only takes 20 minutes to complete something. Yeah, fine. This seems very toxic though. Like, can you imagine using this file and you're like, guys, can you get away from me? I'm trying to do DPS here. Yo, Mr. Mage, why are you so far away from my heals? Please stack up. I need to heal you. My guy, I'm trying to do DPS, man. I'm trying to do DPS. But they're also saying there's not going to be cauldron recipes for files, which is, fine. But there will be for the most powerful craftable potions. So we're still going to have potions, which is interesting. And then here it says, finally, you may be wondering about alchemists and file duration. Not to worry, alchemists who choose to specialize in files will discover the secrets of making files last significantly longer. So files are still going to last longer, just like flasks are for alchemists. But that's, you know, that's the majority of what we have on this post here. If you guys haven't seen this yet, you should definitely go and check it out. Fine, read it, skim through it, whatever it is that you want to do. I've read this a lot of times now. I've talked to a lot of people about this. And it doesn't really answer anything for me. A lot of these things we had already kind of been discussing. We've already kind of, you know, heard about them. What this does is it further develops more questions, and it makes me more scared. But I hope this was helpful for you guys. Info about the profession trees? Nope. Right here. Where is it? Right here. This is all we got. Raven. That's all we got about it. And it's really weird because they're saying up here that the 3 main pillars are crafting orders, profession specialization, and then crafting and gathering with quality. And then right here they have 5 lines of information about specialization, which is basically it's not ready. We'll talk about it soon. More to come on this feature a bit later. That's it. And all it says is you will earn specialization points for a variety of activities. And then you'll get to spend them to permanently improve different areas of your profession. So it's a talent tree, and we have to do content to be able to get these points. That's it. We don't know what the content is. We don't know how it's time gated. We don't know how many points. We don't know what we can specialize. So this does nothing. This does nothing. But they are saying that they're going to talk about it later. So whatever later means.